it's HeySofia and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to build a undersea mermaid's grotto. So today's build was really inspired by old sea tales where you hear about these beautiful mermaids sitting on the rocks with their tails splashing in the ocean, but also mermaids in general, how they swim under the water in these beautiful rock caverns with lots of coral and sea life. So I'm kind of going for a mix between the two today, and we're building an undersea grotto that a mermaid can sit on a rock with their tail in the ocean, but it's also under the sea. So it's really appropriate for anyone who's kind of wanting to build a really pretty little secret base, or maybe wanting to add a little bit of an extra terrain touch, maybe just decorate your coral reef a bit more. Maybe you're wanting to build a little treasure hunt for you and your friends, so you're wanting a cool little area that they find the treasure at the end. So the first thing we're going to do today is I found a coral reef and I'm going to build my grotto in that little cavern there. If you can't find a cavern that kind of looks like that, like a little shallow ravine, you can also just find a deep ravine like this. Just build a floor by using this stone block to build to the height that you would like to be. So maybe you want 10 blocks high for the inside of your grotto. You would just build your little floor there 10 blocks below the surface. Now, if you can't find either of those, you can also just build a curved kind of line against the sand cliffs that are really naturally forming in this area, and then just build it into a hollow mound. So it's kind of like you're building a mountain, but you only have to build one side of it, and then you just build your grotto inside of that. So the first thing that we're going to do is build the roof of our grotto, and this is because, like I said, this is kind of a mix between land sea mermaids that you see and then sea mermaids. So we're going to build a roof so we can actually breathe under here, especially if you don't have the materials or the means in Minecraft to be breathing under the water all the time. You're going to want to close off this area. Now, if you want to see like a really quick way to build a quick breathing area after diving down, I'll show you that shortly as well, so stay tuned for that one. But all I'm doing at the moment is using the stone block and making a little roof. We're just kind of curving it down so its highest point is at the center of your grotto, and then you get lower towards the side like this. Eventually, you just want to thin it lower and lower down so you have a little entrance like this, which just makes it really kind of hidden and cool to go into. The next thing I'm going to do though is just remove any sand that fell down. You just want to fix the mountain that would be on top of where all the sand was, if there was one, just to make it look better and not show so much that there is something hidden down here. We're also going to close off the sides of these tunnels that I have in here, just because you don't want water flowing in from all angles. You kind of want it from one angle, and then you can change it if you want little waterfalls to flow into your grotto or anything like that. So I'm just kind of closing it off here and making it look a little bit more natural, just removing any sand along the way and any coral as well. You also want to remove any ores that you see, so if there's some coal ore to the side there, I'll remove that, and any iron or anything like that. Now, to make a really quick little breathing room, all you want to do is make a little square out of whatever block you have. Sand, dirt. I find sand or dirt the easiest just because there's lots of it around. You want to completely enclose yourself in, and then just quickly fill the entire thing with sand all the way to the roof. You'll have like maybe 2-4 blocks left over like this. And then you just want to delete them all so you have a space. So let's do that quickly. But once you do this, it creates a little air room for you. So if you want to remove 2 blocks on the top there, you can easily go between having some air in here and then swimming out and filling and back and forth. Little rooms like this are really convenient and good to have if you're building this grotto in survival. In creative, obviously, like I'm in at the moment, is not too much of an issue, but when you're in survival, you're going to want to think about how to breathe and how to make little quick air rooms like that. Next thing you're going to want to do though is close off that original entrance so you don't have the water just flowing straight in while you try and remove all this water. Now, if you have sponges like me, you can easily just use sponges to soak up all the water really quick and easy. But if you don't, sand and dirt is a really good way just to completely fill the entire room and then remove it all, and then you have your big air gap cavern. Once you have done that though, we're going to start making kind of like a little river that flows from the entrance of our grotto just down to the end over here. Now our grotto, we're going to be making a round shape. So you just want to work with whatever area that you're building in. Maybe you built your little grotto from scratch attached to a sand mountain. You just want to build a little round shape right in the middle of your grotto, and that's completely fine. If you were building like in a ravine, you might want to remove the walls out and make it a bit wider in there and give it a really nice round shape as well. You just want to kind of build with the area that you're building in. So what you do really depends on the area of the map that you're in and what seed and what it looks like around you. I'm just building to what I have available here. But you just want to keep in mind that the messier it looks, the better it's going to look, because mermaid grottos, I think, like mermaids have really like a lot of natural beauty to them. So I feel like it's only appropriate that where they are has a lot of natural beauty. The more perfect that your room looks, the less perfect it's going to look. You want things to be kind of messy and unnatural, and that will really make the room stand out. So I'm just creating a little pool at the end here. We'll also remove all that diorite because we don't really want it around, and it takes away, I think, from the look of the cave that we're going to have. Diorite, the little andesites I mean over there are okay, stone is okay too, but diorite is too white and too stark in your eyes and in your face in the build that we're doing, so you want to remove that. After you finish off your little grotto room, we're going to open up the door here and let all the water flow back in. Now naturally it's going to flow into the little river ditch that we did make, but you just want to just play around placing some stone blocks or andesite and just make sure it kind of has a nice flow coming down to the room area over here. And then we're going to grab some more water and fill in our little river lake area here. Now this lake we're going to be adding lots more details to, but you want to make sure that when you're building your lake, it's probably about let's have a quick night vision potion there. But when you're building a lake, you probably want to make sure it's about 3 or 4 blocks deep. And this is because if you have kelp, you want to make sure it can grow a little bit and just adds a little bit more detail and a little bit more depth to your grotto. It makes it more magical. While filling in the water, I did also place some sand at the bottom of my grotto just to give it a nice kind of like sandy little beachy oceany look there. I'm also making this little waterfall here and just trimming the edges of it with a mix of the prismarine and the cobblestone slabs. Now I'm using prismarine because I love the way that it kind of has the purple glow throughout the cobblestones of it that comes every now and then. And I feel because we're building such a magical build, it feels really appropriate to be using a block like prismarine. You just want to use it sparingly throughout the room, so if you don't have a lot of it, you don't have to worry about completely filling this with prismarine because we're not going to be using a lot of it. Just here and there. Little patches will just make the room look a lot better. If you can't get prismarine though, I wouldn't really worry about it at all. Just use cobblestone and that's completely fine. To trim our prismarine, we're actually going to be using cobblestone and andesite, so if that's all you have around, you just use cobblestone and andesite. Now this looks a little bit messy, but it will look a lot better soon, I promise. What we're going to do though is start placing the prismarine around the room, so just placing it at the base of things really randomly. You want to kind of place it in patches, like little clusters, just so it makes sense, so maybe a few blocks here and there at the bottom. But when you want to vine it up, you want to kind of go like this so it looks like a oar kind of twisting through. And then to make it look like it's blending in with the environment a little bit more, we're going to trim the edges of it with andesite. Now the reason for this is prismarine is quite a chunky, blocky looking block. And when you have it against a really smooth block like the stone, it just looks like a little bit too out there. And it doesn't blend in as not nice. And I find if you put the andesite next to the prismarine, which is next to the stone, it just has a smoother transition. I'm now just placing some lights in the bottom of the floor to add a nice little glow, which I will show you very soon. Now you want to be placing it probably about 4 blocks deep, and then you want to put light grey glass blocks on top, and this gives this really nice pretty hue underneath here. You can also add sea pickles if you don't have the means to be getting prismarine blocks, or even glowstone is really great for this kind of look that you want to be doing. You don't want to place the lights right next to each other, you want to kind of have blocks around them. You can also place the lights just 2 blocks deep, and that just adds the light closer to the surface of the water if that's the kind of effect that you're wanting to go for. Now just remember, when you are placing lights, if you are building this in PvE, you need to be thinking about skeletons or zombies growing underneath here, especially now the drowned, since they are a mob as well. So if you do, like if you are building this in PvE or survival, just make sure you have a door to your grotto here so the drowned can't get in. And then just also make sure you have lots of lighting underneath. So I'll be doing some lighting in the wall later on as well, so I'll show you that too, but you can easily just put that everywhere to really light up the inside of the cavern, so that way you don't have stuff spawning. I'm just placing a few plants now, specifically the kelp and the seagrass, because I think it's only appropriate that we have some of that in there. It's very kind of like, it's like, the way I think of kelp and seagrass is kind of like the grass of the ocean floor, so it makes sense that when you're building you mostly have seagrass or kelp. Now that all my seagrass and my kelp is placed, so we're going to be doing a bunch of coral. Now you can do whatever colors you like. I'll probably do one of everything, including doing some of the fan ones as well. You just want to make sure you're kind of spreading them out so they're all not right next to each other and making it look too clumpy. There we go. So that's that one all done. Now we'll grab some fan blocks. Okay, so I finished placing all my coral, and now we're going to start focusing on making a little kind of like bed base area. So if you are doing this for more than just a little terrain or a little secret addition underwater, or a little hiding place, but are going to make a little kind of bed area if that's something that you are wanting to do. To do this, I'm going to be using a mix of the quartz and the prismarine blocks, simply because I find that they're the most kind of Atlantis-y feeling blocks. Now, if you don't have prismarine, you could always use a terracotta block or even clay blocks just to give that nice kind of blue feel. You can also use concrete or again clay if you don't have any quartz, but I think the quartz is really kind of essential to getting that nice kind of like Atlantis-y effect, especially with the quartz pillar block and the chisel block. Let's just add some light here quickly. Now we're going to kind of make some really random columns. I'm trying to go for a bit of a ruins look for this little housing area, just because I think that if there was a mermaid living under here, it would be a really old area. It wouldn't be new at all. Maybe something that's a few hundred years old, maybe 1,000 years old, and it's some hidden little area. So I feel like it's only appropriate to make the build area look kind of like old and in a way dilapidated by the way that I'm building. So I'm just making some columns here with the pillar quartz block and a chisel quartz block on top, and then just adding little details with the quartz slabs. You can do really random patterns. You don't even have to do it going the whole way around matching to the poles. You can have bits that have fallen on the ground or in the water. You want to kind of make it look old, so again, same idea with the cavern, messy looks good. I'm also going to fill in the flooring here completely with kind of like the tile prismarine block as well. Not the little mosaic-y one, but this kind of big chunky one. And again, just like when I did with the cobblestoney prismarine, we're going to kind of vein it up the sides of the wall as well, and then trim that with the andesite too. Once that's done, you just want to place some vines around just to kind of give it an overgrown look. Normally I would also place lily pads when I'm placing vines, but I think because it's a undersea grotto, it doesn't really make sense to be having lily pads. They're more of an above ground plant, but I think vines are kind of appropriate, especially because pirate movies or things like that, there's lots of vines and overgrown. So I think vines are appropriate. If you want to add some more lighting as well, like I mentioned, you can just place 2 blocks black and then put a prismarine and a full glass block. Or you can do a glowstone or even a torch if that's all you have. You can continue these lights around the room like I mentioned, especially if you don't want drowned or skeletons or creepers in your mermaid grotto too. I'm just making a really quick little bed there just with some blue little bed blocks. Just because blue, mermaid grotto, ocean water kind of makes sense. I also have a chest there. Now, if you did want something a bit more complicated than this little bed, that's something you can do. I've just made it really simple because I'm just doing a simple little thing for this kind of build. You could always make big hallways though. You could make a chest room like full of all your treasures. You could have a bed area and bathroom, lots of ways to change the side little ways that your rooms look. I've just tried to keep it really simple. Once done though, I'm going to add a couple more pillars just randomly around the room just to give again more of a ruins look. And I'm also going to be doing the same on the outside of the build. Now you can add lots of these pillars and stuff like that just throughout the coral, and then maybe you could have a bunch of these little grotto rooms or even make some little houses and then have some random grottos. I think that's just a really good way to do it. When you have the quartz like this, you just want to kind of make it look curvy. You can change the way that it looks and the way that it's designed. I find just making each pillar unique or weird makes the build look a lot more old too. Now the final kind of thing I'm doing at the moment is just making a little clamshell. Now this is kind of a detail you see a lot in movies like The Little Mermaid or any kind of mermaidy things in general. Generally they have these purple or blue or pink kind of like big coral shell looking things that grow on the sides of walls or rock faces. Now I think the purple would probably be the most appropriate to match the color, but the purple is too tily looking, so I went with the red sandstone and also added some on the inside here as well. But I really hope you guys enjoyed my video today in how to build a mermaid's grotto. I think it looks really beautiful and really natural and kind of mystical and magical, which is what I was going for. Just simple but not too over the top. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Comment down below, would you build a beautiful little mermaid grotto in your build? But like always guys, thank you so much for watching. Please hit that button for notifications as well. But like always, thank you. Bye!